Hi, I'm Chris Ralph, and I'm the professional prospector, and I'm here today to talk to you about gold. Now, my subscribers are interested in gold and interested in making money off gold, and so maybe you should be a subscriber too. Think about it. But what we're talking about today is something that gold hasn't done in years and years. In fact, the price of gold has been rocketing upward. I mean, it's been, really amazing how fast it's moved. Only a couple months ago, we were excited to see gold hit 1,300, but today it's well over 1,500 as I'm filming this in the middle of August. So it's an exciting thing, and the interest in gold is starting to really kindle, and people are realizing again that gold is a really great investment. And you might wonder, should you invest? Is the price of gold going to keep going higher and higher? What's the real deal? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going on with the price of gold today and tell you what's going to happen in the near term and in the longer term. And we're going to take a look at all these things, and you're going to see and you're going to know what's going on with gold and what's going to happen with gold. So let's take a look, or we'll start out by taking a look at some charts just to see where we've been and where we're going. Okay, let's take a look at some charts. And I got a little disclaimer I need to go through first before we really get diving into this, and that's that I'm a professional prospector, and I've been involved with gold for many decades, and I've been an observer for many decades, but I am not a professional investment advisor, and I have no idea of your own personal investment situation. So if you're interested in investing in gold, consider it for yourself. But please don't consider anything in this video to constitute investment advice, because that's not what it is. Okay, so we're looking here at a chart going back to mid-2006, showing how in beginning somewhere around 2007, gold started to rocket upward. And this 2007 to 2011 time frame, gold went from being somewhere around 700 an ounce to around 1900 an ounce at its very peak. This particular point in time, we were going into a recession. It was 2007 was the last dregs of things going well, and the transition into 2008 and 9, 10, that the things were going very poorly in the economy. And the Federal Reserve was lowering interest rates to try and encourage development. And I think we're in the same sort of a cycle here. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in detail, but you can see that we have now reached a point where gold, when it was at its peak and it established a bottom here at a little over 1,500 an ounce, we've now reached that point again. We're about to go through, and basically we're setting this level a little above 1,500 an ounce as a new floor, as a new base from which we're going to basically move upward from here, but this will be a new base, I think. Now, you can see here, this is a shorter term look at what gold has been doing, and you can see that even here as late May, first part of June, we were actually below 1,300 an ounce, and the times when it was above 1,300, we were just hoping it would get up there and stay. Well, since that time, since that bottom, we've moved over 15% up to now well over $1,500 an ounce, and that's a major move. That's a big move in the price of gold, and it looks like the outlook has completely changed, that gold has gone from being kind of a questionable thing to something that's really in demand. Now, it's not just American or European investors. You can see that a number of nations, especially China and Russia and several others,
have been adding to their reserves of gold for some time. For a number of years. They've been basically in a situation where they no longer want to be tied to the US dollar. They want to be independent and not dependent on dollars. And since the dollar is kind of the basis of international trade, what they're looking to do is to have sufficient gold assets that they can, they're not going to go to a gold-backed currency. I highly doubt that. But by having this amount of gold in their reserves, it gives them some options of different things to do, and people will consider their currency to be more worthwhile. And so you see that's another big force in the demand picture for gold, is that nations are buying big quantities, literally tons of material. Another big part of the equation for why gold has been rocketing upwards is, you'll note here that this same time frame that the end of May, beginning of June, we had a situation where the 10-year bond, which should be considerably a higher interest rate than a 3-month bond, which is the orange line down here, the 10-year bond has just collapsed. And this is called an inversion of the yield curve. So instead of a yield curve, which basically the common thing of a yield curve is that the longer the money is invested for, the higher the interest rate that you're going to get. And when you have an inversion like this, where the long-term rates are actually less than the short-term rates, it's a prediction by the bond market that we may be going into a recession sometime in the not too distant future. Finally, I want to point out that silver has also been on its own rocket ride upward in the last couple months. Same time frame pretty much. End of May, early June, silver has just been rocketing upward, and silver has gone from 14.5 to close almost to 1750 now. So you can see that silver is also reinforcing this same idea, a search for a currency that's stable and an alternative to something that some country just can't print out as much as they want to.
Okay, so we've taken a look at the charts and seen where gold has been and how high it's rocketing upward. Now we're going to talk about why. Why is that? Why is gold making a move that's just out of this world and not like anything it's done in years and years? Well, there's a reason for it. You see, the last time gold was rocketing up about 10 plus years ago, there was a reason for that. We were reaching the end of an economic growth period and transitioning over to a situation where interest rates were dropping and the economy was looking worse and worse. It takes time. There's a reason for cycles in the economic growth and contraction. Basically, when things are good, both people and businesses buy more and hire more people and do lots of stuff and hoping and expecting that things are going to continue good. Well, eventually the consumer gets kind of overextended and businesses are kind of overextended, and things that really aren't going to sell so well have been invested in, and the economy starts to turn. And because everybody is overextended, it contracts for a while as individuals tighten their belts and businesses tighten their belts too. Businesses let go of people that they really can't keep because they can't afford it or they really didn't need in the first place. And these cycles happen. They're not predictable in the sense that, oh well, it's been exactly 7.3 years, so 7.4 years they're going to start a recession. I don't know whether a recession is going to start next, it's highly unlikely it'll start next month. 6 months from now, maybe. A year from now, better chances. 2 years from now, sometime within the next 2 years, probably pretty good chance that we'll be heading into recession. So we'll see what happens. when the recession comes and they lower interest rates, there's more of a demand for gold. Right now, something like $15 trillion of government bonds, not US bonds, but bonds from Germany and other places around the world, are actually selling at a negative interest rate. I mean, literally, if you give the equivalent of 100 euro to the Bank of Germany or some amount like that, at the end of 10 years, they'll give you 99 or 98 euros back. They'll actually take money from you for the privilege of receiving your money. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? And US interest rates have been dropping steadily. In fact, today the stock market crashed because the 10-year rate actually got to be lower than the 2-year rate. So you pay less money to have money for 10 years than you would pay if you only borrowed it for 2 years. That's really not a good sign. And it's an indication that in the not too distant future we'll probably go into a recession. And probably gold will be rocketing upward. So it makes a huge difference. Now, for gold to go up like this, and actually one of the things I wanted to point out was that, in US dollars, gold is the highest it's been in more than 6 years. But in some currencies, for countries around the world, gold is setting records. This is new highs all time. And I think we'll get there for the US dollar too. But mining companies, you'll think, well, maybe mining companies will be getting involved and investing in mining company stocks will be good. Well, mining companies, they're a little bit slower to act and slower to move, and just because gold goes up for a few months, they're not going to start any new mines just on that. It's going to take more of an impetus and more increase in the price in order for the mining companies to really get involved. So good days for mining companies and mining company stocks are coming, but they're not here yet. And gold has been going up. A lot of people will buy when gold gets exciting and looks great, and then if it goes back down, they'll sell. It's gone up so much recently that you can kind of expect that in the not too distant future, in the next couple months, we're going to have a bit of a pullback on gold, kind of a re-entrenchment and a backing and filling, they say, where gold prices will pull back a little, and then would be a good time to buy. Right now, it's kind of high. So that said, expect a little bit of a pullback in the not too distant future from a little bit higher levels in 1500. But gold is always a good thing to be going out and finding.
Yeah, gold is a good thing to have. This here is a 20-gram nugget that I picked up out of the deserts of Nevada. I went along with my metal detector, got a deep signal, took it out of the ground. I will say that it was much more iron stained and not nearly as pretty as it is in this picture. But I cleaned it up with some acid and some cleaner, iron stain remover, and this is the beautiful result that I got. What's amazing is something as small as this, and this is only, it's maybe almost the size of a 50-cent piece because it's got a lot of air in it. It's not very solid. It's more wires. This is worth $1,000. So I was going along with my metal detector in Nevada and heard a signal and dug $1,000 out of the ground. So gold is a good thing to have. It's beautiful, and it's an important financial issue for a lot of people. Here's another really great nugget. Just having a reserve of gold can make a difference to your financial situation, especially if we get into some really bad inflation in the future.
Like I say, gold is always good stuff to have. I mean, a little button like this of gold, something easily fit in your pocket, easily to carry, and yet a piece this size is actually about $5,000 worth. That's a lot of money in a small concentration. And as the price of gold goes up, the value of something like this only gets greater. And one of the things I want to recommend is that you should be going out and finding your share of it. You know, investing in it is good. I invest in gold some myself, but going out and digging your own, that's a thrill that's hard to match. And you know, there's tools out there, great tools, and my channel has got lots of information about prospecting, and I'll be coming out with more stuff to tell you how to find your own gold. So do stay tuned to my channel, but do think about becoming a prospector, getting actively involved, and really getting out in the field. I'm out in the pines today in a known gold area, and it's exciting to be out here. And it's exciting to find gold. So the activity of being a prospector, it's a great thing. I can't recommend it highly enough. And if you decide that it's something you really want to get involved in, then great. I've got a book that I wrote that tells all about it. It's basically an encyclopedia of prospecting. And I'm also going to put a link to, this is one of my favorite prospecting tools. I'll have a link to my book in the description below, and a link about this really great metal detector that I've used to find quite a bit of gold. I've got a lot of other metal detectors too, but anyway, let me tell you a little bit more about my book right now.
Okay, so I wanted to tell you a little bit more about my book. I wanted to be able to share the knowledge that I've gained about finding gold and how to be successful. And so I spent years literally writing this book, Fistful of Gold. It's more than 350 pages long, which is why I say it's an encyclopedia of everything you need to know about finding your own gold. I've sold more than 8,000 copies, and I've got a lot of really great feedback on it. It just is the most complete book on the market. It has information about finding gold that literally is not available in any other book that you're going to find for prospectors, because I took technical stuff from geologists and other mineral scientists, and I've translated that into language that the average guy can understand. You don't need a PhD to go out and find gold, but the information that scientists have learned over recent decades can be of a lot of help to people. So it's in this book. If you're interested about finding gold, panning, sluicing, nugget detecting, dry washing, the geology of gold deposits and how they form, it's all in here. And like I say, it's more than 350 pages long. So if you'll just go to the description underneath this video, you can take a look. I've got a link in there to take you to Amazon, to the site where the book is sold. And I think you'll really enjoy it. Take a look at all the people who've commented on this and have really liked the book. It has a very, very high rating for a book. And also, I have a website, my own free website that you can take a look at. I've got all kinds of information on here about doing research and how to find gold, a lot of good information, stuff that basically couldn't fit into my book. And so I put it on this website, and I have a link also for that in the video description. So take a look in the description, and you can click on the link, and it'll take you to my website. And finally, if you like this presentation, I've got a lot more coming out. Here's a 3.5 ounces of gold that I found a couple years back in one area. I've got a lot more of these videos coming on gold, gemstones, hard rock, placer, a lot of metal detecting. There'll be lots of metal detecting stuff. So if you really enjoyed this, click the subscribe button and then tick the notification bell off, and YouTube will let you know when I publish new stuff. And hit the like button as well. And please comment on these videos, because I'm interested in what you have to say, and I promise to answer any questions you have. So if you are wondering about anything, or think maybe I didn't cover something thoroughly enough in a video, then let me know, and I'll be happy to try and help you out and give you whatever information you need. So thanks a lot, and hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you again real soon.